All right, good morning, everybody. I want you to know how hard it was for me to just push the go live button. Anyway, welcome. Thanks so much for just coming, for joining in this live stream conversation for what's going to be an evolving virtual format over perhaps the next several weeks. And I want to just let you all know that our biggest hope is that this will be like a lifeline for all of us in these uncertain days. And just like a way we can hold on to what's still good by clinging to God and by clinging to each other, even right now. Now, there's been a lot of talk over the last week about pastors trying to pull off these kinds of live streams and what's necessary for them. So, I just want to start by telling you that I am not wearing any microphone, which you should have noticed already since I am wearing earrings. Not that you were asking, but I'm also wearing pants. And this is so weird because I can't even tell if you're laughing, which I know I should assume that you're not since you almost never are when I make corny jokes. But at least I thought it would help you feel a little bit normal. Let me offer a couple of starting guidelines for this new forum. First, like our usual worship on Sundays, your participation isn't just welcome, it really is necessary as we gather. So thanks for doing what you're already doing. Would you just let folks know that you're here by saying hello through the chat function? And then if you'll also go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, that'll help us as we move forward. Using these kind of interactive possibilities, we'll take what could have been like watching a show and it'll turn it into a new and maybe messy way of being community for as long as we need it. I know you'll be good at it because Worship at Edges has never been about watching a show. So I bet we're going to get to learn lots of stuff quickly in this forum. But if we'll just show up here each time that we meet, if we'll share comments and questions for each other to read, and then follow through with whatever actions seem doable after we're together, I really think God is going to surprise us with such social solidarity, even during this time of social distance. Second, if you'll just remember that everybody who's here will be able to see your comments. So if you just think of your written comments in the same way you consider how and what you'd share in a usual Edges group conversation, that'd be great. And this is so weird because I'm dying to read all the comments, but I know I need to also say what's next. So I'm just going to trust that you guys are reading each other's. Also, I want to let you know that it's probably obvious, but I've never used this kind of platform before. So I'm likely to be really bad at it. And many of you have seen in person what happens when I go off script. So trying to interact live really ramps up the outtakes potential. Nonetheless, I am going to try to engage in real time just like you, and we're going to make it through together. So here we go. All right, I have four kind of orienting and I think not boring announcements for today. So if you have other questions after these, go ahead and send them and we'll try to dialogue here or we can follow up later with them. All right, number one, we're going to have a midweek live stream on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for right now. And I want you to know that I'm going to call it a midweek, parentheses, mainly music Sabbath. So what that should tell you is that our musicians are going to join me on Wednesday with appropriate social distancing. And we're going to share in a time together that's going to be mainly music, kind of our songs of comfort and hope and help. And we hope that'll be really helpful for some of you. All right, number two. I want to talk about our virtual prayer wall. With so much right now that we need to hold toward the light together, let's just agree to keep praying. So the way we're going to do that is we've set up a virtual prayer wall on the website. And there's a way you can submit online any prayers that you have. And we're going to compile those requests every week, and we'll send those to two different teams, the same teams that always pray, and they'll continue to pray for every submission that you have. All right. Third, I want to talk for a minute about giving. Some of you have asked, will our church remain open? I want you to know that it's our goal to stay open, both to care for the community and to remain committed to our staff. But the reality is that together we're the ones who fund that budget. To say this is a sensitive topic is an understatement, maybe the most colossal understatement I'll make today, because this pandemic has already caused financial crisis for many and even for many of us. And there are many among us who, frankly, would be foolish to give right now financially and who instead are going to need a community like us to rush in. So this is tricky, right? And it's just going to require faith. So if right now you're among the people who are still able to give financially, I'd just like to ask that you trust that sharing is one way in the middle of a crisis to hold on to what is still good. It's one palpable expression of shared humanity and interconnectedness. So if you're somebody who can still give, you can do that online at our website. And finally, number 4, I want to talk about our new pastor. I want to let you know that next Sunday, during our live stream time together, we together will learn our new pastor's name. And I hope to also share with you the food they'd eat and what they'd like to do most if they had just one choice. I hope to share with you how God is helping them these days and what they're really excited about in the same way we do anytime somebody becomes a part of us. In addition to our new Edges pastor next week, we'll also be getting a new lead pastor at Church Street, and I'd love to share about them as well when we gather again next Sunday on March 22nd. All right. Hey, everybody who's over there who's joined. Thanks for being with us. All right. Now, let me see if I can move on to what may be helpful for us this morning. I trust that we are all reading and watching and listening to every media source and every news outlet. I trust that nobody here needs me to keep cluttering the scene with any more words about washing or distancing or public health. So I'll just say one thing. It shouldn't be lost on us, especially not us as people who are trying to follow Jesus, that this pandemic is ushering in a world where people are beginning to understand, like in here understand, that all of us will have to modify our own behaviors and commitments if we really do care at all about the least of these among us. And that is not just good pandemic theology. So I think God is grieving with us. I think God is helping us to eradicate the virus. And I think God is also hoping that we will keep the theology it is offering to us. The theology that all of us have to sacrifice if we care about the least of these who are among us. It's what Jesus has been saying to us literally forever. And now, even though the whole world is thinking in terms of public health, I want you to know that I think the church, especially and specifically our church, our community, I think we should think about how we spend our unique energy on wholeness more than just on health, on dreaming with God and with each other about how we can help eradicate all the seemingly related but actually pre-existing viruses that are threatening our wholeness. These are the viruses that are also super contagious and that are now not only personal but also public crises. You know, it's the sick that is real isolation. It's crippling fear. It's the sadness and anger of loss. It's the exhaustion and worry. It's the chest heavy reality that you really aren't sure how you'll make it when just a few days ago you thought you were completely self-sufficient. And so I think we should ask, can we love and serve one another toward wholeness in the middle of all of these pandemics? The coronavirus and all of the other crippling ones. So this morning, I just want to share two pervasive arguments that I think say we can. We can love and serve one another toward wholeness. Just two. Verse 1. While there's a lot that it feels these days, it feels like hoarding is the answer for everything. From toilet paper, you name it. Love and service don't work that way. They don't work when we hoard them. In fact, our love and our service are just worthless unless we share them. And we all have some to share. So the more we share things like love and service, the wholer we all are. So when we think about these in pandemic speak, I think actions of love and actions of service, they're both the vaccine. These are the things that will keep us and others from getting sick right now. And love and service are the cure. They actually have the power to heal, to make us and to make other people well. Plus, the sky has opened up a little bit right now. I mean, we don't have a bunch of other stuff that was always getting the way of us sharing love and service before. I think that's pervasive argument number one, that we can do this together even right now. And here's persuasive argument number two. Yesterday, my daughter Ivy Ann and I, we went for a walk in the rain. And so we walked to Kroger just to get 3 things because we got the other 892 things the day before. And when we got there, I placed my dripping umbrella by the front door of Kroger. And less than probably 5 minutes later, we went out that same door where I went to pick up my umbrella, and it had been taken. And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that at a time like this, someone would take anything from someone else. And so I was just sort of overcome with all of the stress and the anxiety and the worry and the fear. And I just ranted for a minute right out loud to Ivy Ann, which I'm embarrassed to admit. And then she listened to me, and after a moment, she said, I swear, I'm quoting her verbatim. She said, "Don't think about the bad stuff too much, Mom. Not right now." Well, it's terribly tempting in these days to be consumed by worry and by fear and even by panic. But taking just a few moments to shift our brains and our hearts to do something else, to imagine and then to operationalize some practical way to love and to serve. Well, this is one way I know we can choose to not think about the bad stuff too much. Not right now. So, for example, when I choose to write a note to my in laws who are in a retirement facility that feels like a haunted house now, instead of pace absent-mindedly around my own house, worry about them, which is what I'm inclined to do, that's a practical act of love, and it helps me not to think about the bad stuff too much, or at least not all the time. And instead of the virus of worry, love spreads over me and over them. What might it do if tomorrow morning we let our kids who are annoying and who've already run out of things to do, what if we let them make posters full of love for their bus drivers? And what if we let them stand at the bus stop in the open air and at a safe distance just to say, thanks for keeping on. Thanks for showing up to deliver meals for kids who aren't going to have them. What would that do? It's a way to love and to serve, even in a moment like this. And it's already happening everywhere. Mostly people aren't taking umbrellas. We got to be at the front of thinking about how to love and how to serve. And I just want to say thank you already for those of you who are doing it. I want to let you know that this morning I showed up at the empty church building all by myself to find that somebody came by yesterday and planted spring flowers outside in the flower pots. Now, they knew nobody but me was going to be here. And they knew that I needed to see life and to know that seasons will change. It was an act of love and service that spread something instead of the wrong kind of pandemic. So here's my question. It's for you all to talk about together in the chat. Let me ask the question and then don't anybody answer for just a second because I want to say one more thing after it before. In a time like this, a time like none of us have ever experienced before, what are some practical ways, real ways like bus posters and tulips outside? What are some practical ways that our love and service could help folks in our community toward wholeness? I'll ask the question again. In a time like this, what are some practical ways we can think of together that our love and service could help folks in our community toward wholeness? Now, I said don't answer yet because I want to tell you something else that's going to happen. I'm going to pause for a moment and just let you think and then respond. But I also want you to know that after today's live stream, we're going to be collecting these ideas throughout this whole week on our website. So if you go there and you scroll down, you'll see a place below the virtual prayer wall where you can share your idea for public wholeness. I want you to think of it as a place for practical dreaming in common with each other. And also, as you know of specific needs that are in our community, as you know people who may need practical help, this is a place for collecting those things as well. All right, do your work. What are some of the practical ways that our love and service could help folks in our community toward wholeness? All right, I see writing some handwritten notes to people at Warm Hearth. Shop local if we can instead of ordering from Amazon. Check on our neighbors. Call a friend. Kroger runs for people who might be afraid to go shopping. Wendellberry says, want to do something subversive these days? Be happy. There are plenty of reasons if you just look around. Skype coffee dates. Yeah, sharing our resources with students who are here. Everybody's so worried about students coming back. What if we weren't? What if we asked, how can we share with you? How can we be your family? Snacks to hospital workers. Write a note to a school child who's going to pick up meals on the bus. Snail mail. Offer childcare to children of healthcare workers. Yeah, help your professors figure out what it looks like to move classes online. Call your parents. Listen. Think about how to support healthcare workers. So Franklin is saying to check in on people like him who work in the service industry. Actually, he works at a local Kroger. He reminds us that their lives are going to be consumed by our jobs and that they are already exhausted. I'm sure the same thing is true for medical personnel. Yeah, if you need to cancel your appointment for something like personal training or other personal services, where possible, if you can keep financial commitments to those people, make people feel special. Leave supplies in your mailbox for the mail folks. Henley, who's 7, says be a pen pal to somebody who's lonely. Frank's reminding us that the United Way needs help with supplies for vulnerable populations. Yeah. Try to think of other people's needs along with or even before your own. All of this just great theology. Think about shut ins that you know. Yeah, servers in restaurants make the majority of their income from tips, and if nobody's there, they don't get any tips. Reach out to your food industry friends. So much we can do, and so much we got to think about together. So keep on writing, and beyond here, know that we're collecting these ideas on the website. This is the beginning of what may be a new permanent theology for us. Yeah. Let every breath just be your prayer, whether it's worry or anxiety or fear. It's all right. Just trust that God takes that as prayer. We'll use it to help move us toward wholeness. Lots of people are thinking about public health. What if we believed it was our job to help usher in public wholeness? Yeah, Doug says, ask the question, is this going to help something or hurt something before everything we say? Share music and art and poetry that's hopeful and inspiring and funny. I've seen some funny memes over the last few days. Take meals to healthcare workers. So, this really has already been for me a conversation on hope, a conversation that takes me to a new place that says, don't think about the bad stuff. At least don't only think about the bad stuff. Move your energy, move your head and your heart over the next days and weeks, even just some of the time together with the people that you love, together in your homes with your family, toward what we can do, toward the theology that God hopes we will always have. All right, I'd like to share one more thing um, as we keep on going this morning. Some of you have probably seen a poem called Pandemic. It's a poem that I think is about public wholeness and what that looks like. And in case you haven't seen it, I'd just like to share it with you this morning. If you'd like to follow along, if it helps you to read something instead of only just hearing it, I believe it's posted in the comment section um, of our YouTube. It's called Pandemic, and it's written by a poet whose name is LYNN UNGAR. All right, are we all ready? What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling. Give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray. Touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. And promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. So let it be, my friends. And we'll see you all on Wednesday at 7 p.m. if what you really need is a midweek, mostly music Sabbath. And now, as I sign off, friends, may the God who seeks you find us all where we're falling. And may the God who loves us continue to take delight even in this living. And may the God who sends us send us out now still with joy. For in all the gladness and even more the grieving, in all the brokenness and in all the healing, in all the faithfulness and in our leaving, the God who made us and redeemed us is the God who keeps all of us still. Amen. See you soon, my friends.